As a nonprofit executive, how do you define and measure success in what you do?
I think something that I've learned in running a nonprofit is that it's also a business. You need to bring in revenues, you have your expenses, you have to not be in the red. I mean, all of these things are important. And I think that so many times people regard the nonprofit field as not being, subject to the same types of rules. And when you talk about measurement, I think it is really important. We do need to measure, outcomes and measure success. But I think in the nonprofit sector, that is a very different kind of measurement than for-profit. I mean, I think it's easier in the for-profit world. It's all about sort of dollars and cents and returns to shareholders. In the nonprofit world, we are looking for returns just as well, but they may be harder to measure, but they should be measured regardless. And I think that's why sometimes you see that a lot of the resources go into work that is easier to measure. For example, for many years, I chaired the board of the New York Asian Women's Center. It's a wonderful organization that helps battered women and children and victims of trafficking here in the New York area. The work is hard and measurement is hard. But one of the things that we could measure was, for example, how many beds get filled a night, how many women and children are in our shelters. And so that's one level. And that's important work, and but that is measurable work. And then we can get reimbursed, by how many beds are covered, are filled. But the harder work to measure is about how many people are changing their attitudes, that it's just not okay to beat somebody up. It's just not okay to abuse another human being. That is really difficult to measure. But it doesn't mean that work shouldn't be done. And in fact, if that work is not done, then we're going to just have to keep making more beds to fill. So I think it's very important for us to measure the things that can be measured, and then also do our best to put in matrices or whatever to hit benchmarks and to keep an account of other harder to measure issues, but it's very important to do both.